How much ammo you got?
I got a few left, but it's not much.
I took out the rest of the stragglers, but there's bound to be more of them on the way.
I'm not gonna lie, man. This is like my first time playing the game,
You
and
better try to stay as quiet as possible.
Silent. Got it. All right.
What the fuck are you doing?
He started banging on the door. I didn't want him to come down here. Plus, I got all the ammo in the... that was my last shell. Looks like we may be in trouble. I don't know how you're gonna get me out of this, but you better think fast. Thanks. Great.
It's been quite some time since I've given another shot to the iconic video game known as Project Zomboid. I bought it a long time ago, and if you've been a fan of the channel for a while, you'll know that originally I wasn't the biggest fan of it. First of all, a huge thanks to everyone who enjoyed the last Zomboid mod showcase I did. I wasn't expecting that video to blow up, so it's pretty cool I gained a few new people to the channel. Appreciate you guys as always. Anyway, Zomboid was a tough game for me when I first played it, until I discovered the mod community, when my third eye was opened far and wide, spreading moist creativity and immersion within the universe that made me love the game and even give it a solid 10 out of 10 rating. Yeah, it's that good. But when I first reviewed Zomboid, I was merely a beginner. I've had plenty of practice and lots of time to spend inside the world, including some of my best and worst moments that I've put on the channel prior to this video. Now, I've had more than enough time to dive back into the game, and I forgot how much fun I had long ago. Discovering even more mods, I was able to find the perfect immersive experience that helped me get more used to Zomboid in general, and aided me in both navigation and wits. And yeah, in the last video I didn't even notice, but the error message came up to about like 50k or something, maybe a little higher. A couple of people pointed out the mod errors from the last video, and listen, it's not like Gary's mod with their obstructively annoying text that shouts at you through the screen. Something is creating script errors. This error message is small enough to where it barely affects my gameplay. My game hasn't crashed, nor has it bugged out yet, so once again, I'm gonna continue to ignore it. I once got the errors up to like 500k easily. What I'm trying to say is, it's not a big deal that the error message shows so often. It's not intrusive to the gameplay. I downloaded a modded map called Chesstown, a large-scale city with multiple loot spawns and an outrageous number of zombies. I practiced a pattern for a while when playing on this map until I finally figured out the greatest plan possible. I set myself up inside a large-scale luxury apartment building. Living on the 4th floor, I kept lots of my belongings inside the cabinet and dresser so I could have more room for new loot in my backpack. Using this method, I was able to fend off a lot of infected single-handedly and survived long enough to memorize a route to and from the gun store. I spent a lot of time grinding out this character, as I always do whenever I get sucked into this madness. I played with a friend a while back, and he had the same opinion at first that I did when I played Zomboid. He was confused, didn't know how to play, and he was frustrated at how often he would get hurt or die. I don't blame him, because this game is definitely meant for people who speedrun Dark Souls while drinking 4 shots of tequila and reciting Bohemian Rhapsody backwards. It's a tough game, and anyone who says otherwise is pretty much lying. If you're thinking about buying this game and finding an assault rifle inside the first fridge you open, you're gonna be disappointed. Zomboid is all about earning your rewards to aid your survival. If you go to a police station, for example, you'll see that the doors for the armory section are always locked. You can stand there like a bozo and crack at the door until it breaks, but that creates a lot of fucking noise. Instead, kill a few zombies within the surrounding area until one of them drops a metal key. Attaching that to your keyring should grant you access to the armory, noise-free and out of sight. I've made it a habit to take a certain amount of items each time I leave the safe house. Every journey into the dangers that lurk through the streets isn't guaranteed to be a good one, so you should always have eyes on your back. Let's say I want to go on a food run. There's a diner just a few blocks away from my house. I sneak my way there and take some food. I sneak it back to my house on the 4th floor and put the food directly in the fridge to keep it cold as long as possible before it decays. This is a handy strategy to get used to so you can always have some backup supplies, just in case your current character meets their demise. Then I would make a list from there, scavenging police stations, gas stations, even some of the vehicles have useful items hidden in the dash or in the trunk. Over time it becomes a lot more challenging with the ridiculous amount of zombies that'll hunt you down if they catch your scent. Firing a gun in Zomboid is the equivalent to choking yourself with a leather belt. The sound carries everywhere in this fucking place. If you stock up on ammo and weapons like I have, you'll have no problem getting a little trigger happy from time to time and upgrading your reload, aiming, and shooting skills. Keep in mind though, you can't sprint while reloading. In fact, many actions you take will be interrupted if you sprint. You can't eat food or drink water either. But what I'm about to tell you is a very handy strategy, and I promise you after some practice, trial and error, you can do it too. Let's say you have a big crowd of undead following you close behind. Even while crouched, you can outrun them with the standard speed, saving your energy and creating less noise. On top of that, you can reload weaponry and walk in an uneven line, and they won't touch you. Some of the melee mods I have contain legendary blades like this machete which eats through hordes like you wouldn't believe. You'd be surprised how many you can kill single-handedly with the right melee weapon. Keep your feet shuffling constantly with the zombies in your line of sight and only run away if absolutely necessary. There's a really useful mod I installed known as the jump mod. It allows your character to jump because in the base vanilla game of Zomboid, you can't do this. This is a huge deal, and it can even be used to scale building rooftops. The other mod I have that helps in tight situations is the roll mod, which allows your character to roll away from a fatal attack. Man, do people really play this game with no mods at all? I've never had any of the zombies follow me directly up to my apartment, thank God, but they do still get into the building and roam around. There's nothing you can really do to prevent that. Usually I just perform a daily sweep and make sure there are no zombies before I head into my house. Another great tip I can offer, don't be scared of them. Zombies, for the most part, are stupid and slow. Sure, they'll overwhelm you easily if you let your guard down, but with the added realism taken into account, you'll have to factor out a few things. For starters, if you're being pursued by a horde, eliminate one of them at a time while backing away slowly. Keep your eyes fixed on the horde themselves, like I said before. If a zombie approaches you from behind, simply work around him until he merges with the crowd. Rinse and repeat. It's time consuming if you don't have a firearm, but it's worth it if you want to salvage their loot and save a bullet in the process. Thanks to mods, zombies can drop all kinds of great goodies for you. You might be wondering, this is a lot of stuff, Tristan. Where do I store all of this shit that I come across? Your weight is limited, and the heavier you are, the slower and noisier you become. But let me slow down for a minute and start fresh before I get to the whole base building idea. To give you a better perspective of how I begin my Zomboid journey, I decided to start a brand new game. And by the way, don't mind the background noise, I'm currently dog sitting. Starting off fresh, I went with a character named Donna Moreland. She used to be a teacher at the local university when the outbreak had swept the state, and soon the world, in a massive pandemic. With little to no experience with firearms, she walks into the infected world alone. Little does she know that in about 3 days, I'll have 100 kills under her belt and about 16 fucking guns. The first thing I'd advise you to do is find food and water. Hey, the weapons and guns aren't going anywhere. They can wait. The food, however, will perish after some time and you'll have to figure out a new source of energy. I collect things like water bottles, empty flasks, canned foods. What's convenient for newcomers of Zomboid is a little tip I learned long ago. Eat the food in the fridge until you're stuffed. This will give you much more needed energy for when you're outrunning zombies or in desperate need to make some room in your inventory. While looting, keep your peripheral vision open as often as possible. Unfortunately, my PC doesn't support dual monitors, so I have to rely on my one curved monitor to help me see the corners better. Still, even when my eyes are scanning a container's items, they are also scanning the room around me, making sure it's safe to take a look inside. If you're in the middle of looting and a zombie approaches you, don't panic. Time yourself with the zombie's movements. If you think you can finish picking up an item, go for it. If not, step away and get some breathing room when you can. Effectively enough, you can take a vehicle and drive it to a totally separate area in the city, which will lure all of the infected to that said area. Oh, fuck, I'm stuck now. Oh no, bad time to get stuck. Oh no, 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 go, 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 go! Oh, jeez, fucking close one. That's what I'm talking about, you gotta be careful. Noise is your best friend and worst enemy in this game. I was lucky enough to spawn near a group of raiders who deemed it necessary to try and kill me for my stuff. For some reason, every time I try to kill the raiders, like shoot them, it doesn't work. They can deal damage to me, but I can't deal damage to them. It's probably just a conflicting mod somewhere, I'm not sure. The raiders had guns somewhere close by, and I only knew that because the fucking morons wouldn't stop blasting their rifle at an incoming horde. Using the horde against them, I managed to sneak away unharmed with a few close calls. Whenever you enter a new building, you should close the door behind you. I know, kind of a no-brainer, but you'd be surprised how often I forget to close the door behind me just to have a massive horde pile into the room like a herd of fucking pissed off rhinos. Thankfully, by this point, if you've been looting the bodies often enough, you'll find a gun or two that are enough to get you by for now. I was lucky and even found a holster for Donna so I could attach a handgun to one of my shortcut keys. You won't have unlimited ammo, but you'll be able to defend yourself from a distance. Speaking of, this is where the whole base idea comes into play. I don't really craft much of anything in Project Zomboid, but in terms of a legitimate base, I normally stick to a pre-spawned house with the best possible layout. It has to have a basement for storage, a bedroom for sleeping, a bathroom for sanitization and hygiene, and of course a workshop so I can customize my gear to my liking. Using the interior storage containers along with other tactical cases I may find, I can place them anywhere within the house and put items inside each one, separating and sorting my inventory in one safe place. This is a very handy strat if you die early on and don't want to worry about losing everything your character had, as you can easily just go back to the safe house that you marked on your map and collect more gear. Donna's a trooper though. She's no longer teaching a bunch of fucking ungrateful stuck-up nerds. She's resorted to a merciless zombie killer bent on survival for the possibility of a better future, all within the span of less than 3 in-game days, and now I am become death. Surrounded by both infected and raider survivors, Donna attempts to hunker down in an abandoned factory. Normally, as I stated before, I try to stick with nothing more than a house. This time though, I happen to stumble upon these convenient storage containers that can be used to put my unused items into. This will be my emergency stash if Donna dies and I have to restart. The first major problem I was experiencing with this game were the raiders. Bullets don't seem to work against them in any way, so the only way you can attack them is via melee weapons. Of course, I didn't know this, so every time they approached me, I ended up running away like a little girl. Once I realized I could kill them, I went after them like a spider to flies caught in the web. What's even cooler is you don't necessarily have to do much damage to get them to get away from you. Most of the time, if you're lucky, the zombies will spread them thin and keep them away from your character. This is extremely useful if you want to avoid fighting them. But Jesus, she just hit me in the head with a shovel and now I'm bleeding? I wasn't letting that go without a fight. After I killed them, I left their bodies to be consumed by the undead and returned to my home base. Marking locations on your map is essential if you don't want to get lost. I have a mod that allows me to change the size of my icons and text just for convenience. It helps to know where you've been and where you want to go. Obviously, you won't know where you are until you get inside a building and investigate it. Like this pink building on my map. I had no idea this was a hospital, but now I do. So I make a quick note of it. Even after you die, your map will remain the same, markings and all. Doesn't make sense in terms of realism, but it's handy so I can't complain. Once you collect the guns you want, along with a decent amount of ammunition, you can start planning trips to other dangerous sides of town. Usually there's an armory at every single police office, no matter how big or small. It's helpful to keep tabs on where to find more supplies to take out the infected, so often I'll resort to the map's legend and color coordinations. You're probably going to want to space out your inventory, grab what you can carry but nothing more, then head back to your base hideout, unload, rinse and repeat. It's a very repetitive and lengthy process, but if you want to stand a chance for a decent chunk of time in the game, you're going to want to do this as early as possible. Don't forget to keep an eye on your moodles as well. They're cute and cuddly, sure, but they usually only bring bad news. Staying fit and getting enough sleep are very common sense actions that often go forgotten. Once you've stocked up, you can basically do whatever you want from this point. Travel, stick around, and find more loot in the city, create barricades, search for survivors, collect more guns. It's all up to you. Another reason why I absolutely love Project Zomboid. Look, I'm not an expert, okay? And I only got into Zomboid this year with just over 100 hours on Steam. These are all just tips that personally helped me get a lot better at avoiding danger and confronting it when forced to. It's not an easy game by any means, and I don't doubt that you can survive for quite some time if you follow some of the other guides people have. Hopefully though, I've helped a few beginners of the game. Don't lose faith and don't downgrade yourself. It's a tough game without mods, and even with them it's not exactly a breeze. It just becomes a bit more immersive and fair for the player. Thank you for watching this video, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed and got a laugh or two out of it. I want to hear some of your Zomboid stories. What are some things that have happened to you during your best run? This certainly won't be the last time I talk about the game on the channel, so stick around and we'll dive into Project Zomboid another day. I'll see you guys next time. Hey, has anybody else had that crazy feeling that they were gonna fart and then shit their pants? That's what I'm having right now. Anyway, thanks for watching.